China hasn't been just busy knocking up viruses. It's also making a concerted effort to inject its social media app, TikTok, into our kids' minds. Forget traditional drugs. TikTok has become the ultimate digital narcotic. China has its own version of TikTok. It's called Douyin, and the contrast couldn't be starker. Douyin users in China, they get a 40-minute daily cap if they're underage, no doubt to save them from turning into bleary-eyed screen zombies. And the content is a tribute to the greatness of the Communist Party, filled with model citizens doing remarkable things and educational videos. Well, meanwhile, you turn on your kids' version of TikTok and you'll be in for a surprise. Beamed to our Western shores, it's a different animal altogether. You've got kids gyrating to hypersexualized dance routines. You've got celebrating dangerous levels of thinness to the point of glorifying anorexia. And let's not even get started on the trans stimulus. So-called trans kids are hawked like the latest iPhone model. But let's be absolutely real. Most kids are more likely to grow out of these feelings than embrace a lifetime of hormone treatments and physical and emotional scars. As the trans YouTuber Blair White says, a transgender kid is as nonsensical as a vegan cat. Someone else is pulling the strings. So I ask the question, is China deliberately sowing chaos in our societies? Given the glaring disparity between Douyin, its TikTok, and our TikTok, it's hard not to think so. If you ask me, it's about time we kick this digital menace to the curb. It's not just an app, it's a weapon aimed at our culture. And I never like calling for bans, but TikTok is a line in the sand we must be willing to draw. Now, Emily, you're going to have kids one day. Are you worried? Are you worried? With any luck, God willing.
I get told to crack on.
I want kids as well, by the way.
I always get told to crack on.
Are you going to be worried about them using TikTok?
Yeah, I am, because I do use TikTok and I'm becoming increasingly addicted to it, actually, because it is just that instant entertainment and you just swipe and you end up spending, half an hour, 2 hours just going through the motions on the app. And what I have seen on there is actually quite shocking. So obviously it highlights the extremes in our society and presents them as normal. And that is very worrying when it comes to extreme opinions, but also when it comes to extreme lifestyle choices, when it comes to, the extremes, essentially. But also there are a lot of what appear to be young age girls, definitely less than 18 years old, in not a lot of clothing, doing quite sexualised dances, but also this, I don't know what it's called, ASMR, where they're sort of making these sexual sounds online. And there are lots of men who comment and give them little treats and stickers and hearts and all this lot.
Rewarded.
And it's basically rewarding young girls and boys as well to be as sexual as possible because they'll get more likes and more followers. I mean, this is the same on other social media platforms, but I do think TikTok is probably worse. And if China are doing this on purpose, I can see why, because it's certainly dividing people.
So, Lizzie, do you look at the young girls that we just had on screen there for radio listeners, as young as, some of them not even in their teens yet. Do you look at those young girls and feel sad for them?
Well, I do feel sad, and as you said, it's very, very, it's addictive. And I've got 2 young boys, and they actually told me, Mum, don't go on TikTok, because probably embarrassed what I'd post on there, to be honest. But what worries me that you've mentioned are the girls that look like they've got eating disorders and showing off about it. I'm someone that suffered with an eating disorder when I was growing up, and this is really disturbing, and I think it can trigger an eating disorder. And it really worries me, this is a slippery slope we're going down. And
do you view it as glorification of eating disorders?
Yes, I do feel it's like a glorification, and it's a slippery slope where girls are going to want to do it themselves, and before you know it, they are really, really poorly, and this is disgusting what I'm viewing. I'm really worried about it, and there should be something done.
So, before we get to Benjamin Bedwetter, I just want to know what your view is on TikTok. In my view, Albie, and I don't know if you agree with this, in my view, anyone that says things like a woman can't have a penis, things like that, I know so many people who've been booted off the platform for saying things like that. Why is it, Albie, that only one side of the argument, to the extreme, as Emily said, is allowed to present itself on TikTok?
I don't know. They're probably trying to appeal to a certain demographic of society who they think is going to make them the most revenue. That's normally what businesses will do. But I don't agree that TikTok should be banned, because actually the content on TikTok, from what I have seen, is not that different to reels on Instagram or videos on YouTube or the content on Twitter. And I think in a liberal democratic society, if you're going to say we need to ban TikTok, then why don't we ban all social media? But that strikes me as a very Chinese Communist Party thing to do, actually. And I think we need to actually put more responsibility with parents who let their children use social media at too younger ages, rather than banning it for everyone.
Yeah, I think there needs to be some kind of awareness campaign, because I don't think there's any point of banning it, because something else will just come up in its place.
Well, then we ban that.
Well, I mean, but they could just keep
I'll go on a banning spree.
Lots of people are now making a living on TikTok, and they're showing lovely things like their recipes or just nice vlogs about their home life and lovely things. They're actually nice to watch, and people are showing their music. There are musicians on there who wouldn't have been recognised otherwise. So it is fantastic in that way. It's giving people, a showcase for their talents. But there is a lot of sordid stuff on there, and it is pretty dodgy, and I've seen it firsthand.
So, Benjamin, turning to you, you're not a TikTok user, am I correct?
I'm not TikTok, but I made the mistake of typing my name into TikTok. There are 32 million views, not all flattering. But it's extraordinary, really, because I have to agree with Emily in the sense that when I did download the app, and that's when I saw these sort of response videos to everything I say, and it was so addictive. I mean, way more addictive than any other app. And that is one of the reasons why I didn't want to use it. I don't think ministers should be allowed to use it, which is something the US brought in a wee while back and that we've started to introduce here. But look, other than that, I think the idea, you've outdone yourself in trying to blame transgender people for the encroachment of Chinese communism on the rest of the world. I mean, that's just ludicrous, right? Just because you see trans people on there doesn't mean you'll make you trans. I learned about the Second World War at school, but I've still not invaded Poland. I think young people are capable of seeing
There's a lot of
content
stuff
without
about
being
very
persuaded.
young kids, though, that where trans and gender dysphoria is. It does look like it's been celebrated, if not encouraged,
Is it any
which is
different on
slightly
Instagram?
worrying.
But it is.
I think it is,
TikTok is much more. You're kind of obsessed with it. Easily get obsessed with it, and I just think you've got to be very, very careful.
Well,